Hi everyone. Just gonna say my mask got all crumpled today, but it shouldn't affect the review. If it's really an agony to look at, then just look away. There's not very much of a visual element to this video. But today I'm going to be talking about Kanye West's "My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy." Easily one of the greatest albums of the 2010s, possibly some would argue of all time, even though I don't see it in like the top tier. I mean, it's definitely still in my top 30, but I wouldn't put it in like my top 10 for a couple of reasons. But other than that, this isn't just a great album. This is a fantastic album, fittingly titled. It reminds me of all of the good things that came with 2010s pop and hip hop, early 2010s and late 2000s, without any of the soulless, like sort of textureless, mindless, just like hurts your head party stuff. It's a lot more. It's definitely something that you can play at a party, but there's a lot more flavor to it. There's a lot more soul, and you can definitely hear Kanye's production and his sort of character like seep through this album. It's really great. And the greatness is definitely there on Dark Fantasy. Uh, Probably one of the greatest openers of all time. I can't think of any other opener that sets up the rest of an album so well, where you get this poem read off, sort of saying this isn't just some boring normal story. This is a dark fantasy. Everything here is going to be like a level deeper and darker than what you'd hear on most albums. And the it's read from a poem that I actually heard as a kid, so that was fun to find out on my first listen. But after that is read out, you hear these uh, uh, vocals saying, "Can we get much higher? So high." It sounds really good, especially when they go with the ohs, because like all of these voices come in, and it sort of seems like just this heavenly chorus. Although, yeah, that's how I would put it. It's just like godlike. It's amazing. And then they repeat that. Well, not exactly repeat, but they sort of repeat the phrase over and over until this wind chime comes in, sort of from the left ear and over to the right, and you get this really good driving beat that sounds exactly like what you'd expect to kick off an album of this massive proportion. And then Kanye does some raps over it. Uh, it's honestly just such a great opener, and this isn't even coming from like the biggest hip hop fan ever. It's just so great. And then following that is gorgeous. This this sort of has for the beat that he puts behind it. Kanye is like a really great producer. Like I've said, I think uh, he puts this beat behind it of like these uh, like really glamorous guitars, which sort of matches the title. But everything is super gritty at the same time, almost lo-fi, which is a recurring theme on more of the deep cuts on here. Even though I wouldn't say there are really deep cuts, all of these could have functioned as singles. But yeah, and Kid Cudi, I believe he was featured on the chorus. It's really great with his vocals matching up with the guitars. Following that is Power, one of my personal favorites, and one of the more popular songs on here as well. It starts with these sort of chants that I swear I've heard at multiple sports events. I don't know if it went from one place to another, from the sports events to this song, or vice versa, but I do know that either way it was sampled from this African chant, and I think it works perfectly on this song. But you hear these right when Kanye comes in, there's like all these sort of sirens, and then you hear this driving uh, just guitar chord progression that's really great before you just get right into the chorus. And the chorus is so good with the guitar. The guitar line here is like one of the greatest ever written, like hands down. It's so good. It feels powerful, but not in the way you'd expect just hearing the name Power. It's more just really grandiose, but also really complex. It's not just like pounding or anything. And the it just goes back and forth, and the guitar riff is repeated over and over, but it never loses its enjoyability, at least for me. And then after that, we have the interlude that precedes all of the lights. It's really great. It sort of sets up the song, and what's really interesting is that it's like really orchestral, and they do like the vocal lines and everything, so you sort of get like a taste of what the next song will bring. But since it doesn't come until afterward, like it still sounds really fresh on the actual song, All of the Lights, which for some reason a lot of people don't think is that great. It is that great. It's got this really good hook. I believe it was sung by Rihanna. And these, when they say all of the lights, they do the hook, part of the hook. They got a bunch of different popular singers on there, so it does really sound like you just have all these really important I guess sort of like on Dark Fantasy, where you have like this heavenly chorus singing the hook, and it's just so like amazing to hear like this massive thing, especially from my listening experience where I'm sitting in the corner of my room. It really does feel massive, but not in like a intimidating way. More like I don't really know what more, like just not intimidating. It's great. And then following that is Monster, which the beat is really simple. In fact, I can't. There's tiny amounts of like melody, like something resembling a melody, but it's almost completely just drums the entire way through in this sample that's barely like audible, like you can't tell what they're saying at all. And that brings me to another point, is that the samples on here are all fantastic. They're utilized in such a way that really brings out the personality of Kanye, even if some people are turned away by the idea of samples. He just does so much to them that they feel like completely different from the original song. And then in the song Monster, like they have a ton of features on it, and each each feature seems to get more and more aggressive as it goes. Uh, it's just it's great. The ending is great. I keep describing things as great, and that's more of just a lack of words for just how amazing everything on this record is. I'm just lost for words. Following that, So Appalled is sort of them talking about. This is more lyrical because the next couple of songs do sound very similar, but I'm gonna talk more about lyrics, even though I'm not a lyrics person. I am like the least qualified person on this planet to talk about lyrics. But So Appalled sort of says like all these like I said, I'm not very good at it. They're sort of talking about all these great, not great, they're uh, famous, I guess is how you could put it, people or things, and how, like, honestly, petty all of it is. And they're so appalled at all of it. There is a big feature list on this one too, but I don't think it's as standoutish as Monster. And then after that is Devil in a New Dress, which is like the beat is actually really similar to So Appalled, but it does go in a more personal direction, which the title references. Kind of a weak spot for me. It's not bad, but it does sound like I feel like everything on that track is done better on the 11th track, Blame Game. The ninth track, Runaway, is one of the most devastating emotional tracks probably of the 2010s. And it's sort of him saying, I am like a really awful person. Look at all these things I've done. You should get away from me because I'm dangerous for you. And it has this really simple piano melody. It just goes through like these four chords, just hitting the same note three times and then a different note another time, and then repeating that through four different chords. But it really hits hard, especially with the like the lo-fi drum beats and everything in the background. And then right when you think the track is done, you hear this. It almost sounds like him entering the studio again, and this crazy vocoder solo comes in for about 3 minutes, and it does not overstay its welcome in the slightest. I love every minute of this thing, especially with these added strings played over the already great beat that really adds some flavor to it to keep my attention for that long of a time. And it's sort of, I guess I don't really have anything else to say on it. It's like just the strings and the vocoder. You wouldn't expect them to sound good at all. You'd expect it to sound terrible, but it just sounds really good. Following that is one of my favorites, but maybe some people would disagree with me. Hell of a Life. This song is basically him saying, yeah, I am, like, let's live this really non-traditional, like, hyper-energized life that seems like fun. And I do like that sentiment of just if it's enjoyable, then why not just enjoy it? And it has on the chorus they sort of sample slash auto tune their voices to Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and it's pretty great. But following that, it has this spiraling synth. I wouldn't say synth. It's, sorry, accidentally clicked something. It has this spiraling arpeggios, I guess is how you could put it. That it sounds really great the first two times, and then after that, in your right ear, there's this sort of ghostly. I'm not sure what it is at all, but it really aids the the arpeggios, especially when they just fly out of control. It's great. And then Blame Game samples this Aphex Twin piano part that I've listened to the song, and I am a bit of an Aphex Twin fan. I haven't listened to too much of his work, but I do like the original song, even if the sample was sort of taken unfairly. I still think it's utilized very well. And they sort of just talk about how they're two, like it's two people that don't really like each other, but they're scared to break up and find someone else, so they just stay together. And the ending to the song, it's this skit. I'm sort of on it. I don't like how it portrays the women in it. It's kind of derogatory, even if that is what they're going for. Uh, it's it's a problem, and I'm not scared to admit this isn't like a good thing at all. But following that is Lost in the World, which I consider the closer. I think Who Will Survive in America is basically like a spoken word finisher, but this is the closing song. They're like a two part, and Lost in the World has these great uh, drum and drum and bass rhythms to it, along with these shouted vocals. It really does feel like the ending to a movie. And him sort of sang this poem that I believe he originally wrote for Kim Kardashian. It's all great. And then after that is the real closer, Who Will Survive in America, where he samples this reading of I forgot who, but it basically talks about. I actually don't know. I just think it sounds good. I mean, I'm not here for the lyrics, as I've said before. I'm here for the music, and it sounds good, especially with the lingering beat of "Lost in the World" slowly dying out until all you hear are just these hand claps to say, "This is a great album," and it is a great album. It is a fantastic album. If it feels like a movie listening to it. I said that sort of on Lost in the World, but it's true. It's just great. The only problems I have with it are some of the lyrics kind of seem disgusting to me, and some of the later songs sort of blend together if you're not just looking for lyrics, but it's still very much a 9 out of 10. Uh, yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.